Good? Someone likes it. Sin is us not living the life that God desires for us. So plain and simply put, sin separates us from God. Now this definition is very open, and it is so intentionally. We have to understand that sin is as old as humanity itself. That sin has been around since the very beginning of time. Now, many will point to this concept of original sin, and they will point to Adam and Eve's eating of the fruit in the Garden of Eden as this idea of the original sin. Methodism's founder, John Wesley, wrote on sin, and he wrote on it a lot. And his words today would be seen as very direct. They'd be seen as very biting. They'd be seen as almost harsh to read them today, because John Wesley is not one to hold back. And he did not sugarcoat anything. He wrote that all of humanity, quote, by nature was purely evil. All humanity by nature was purely evil. There is a document called the Articles of Religion. And these Articles of Religion are the basic tenets of our Methodist heritage and faith. If you're ever curious what we believe about X or Y or Z, you can go to the Articles of Religion and read what it is that we profess as United Methodists. They state the things that we believe to be true. Now, they are found in the opening sections of the Book of Discipline. You will also find them on the United Methodist website, where I pulled this screenshot from. And in Article 7 of the United Methodist Articles of Religion, you will read the following definition of sin. Original sin standeth not in the following of Adam, as in Adam and Eve, but it is the corruption of the nature of every man, person, that naturally is engendered of the offspring of Adam, that's all of us, whereby man is very far gone from original righteousness, the righteousness God first embedded in Adam, and of his own nature inclined to evil, and that continually. Meaning that the sin we are inclined to do, we are inclined to keep doing. And that every one of us is inclined to do that. Author John Schuer wrote the following, quote, "This definition found in the Articles of Religion mirrors the somber language found in the beginning of Wesley's sermon titled Original Sin." It's a great read on a Sunday afternoon, by the way. Wesley used this tradition of the church to further support the claim that all people are totally wicked and inclined to evil. How does that make you feel? Now, while John Wesley wrote these words in the late 1700s, this idea he puts forth of being wicked or inclined to evil is not new. And it's really not even his idea. In Romans 3, verses 10 through 12, the Apostle Paul writes the following: "There is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. For all have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one that does good, not even one. But even Paul's words here in the book of Romans, in these verses, are paraphrases from the Old Testament books of Psalms and Ecclesiastes. So we know even in Paul's days that sin was not new then either. We can go all the way back to the beginning, all the way back to the Ten Commandments, for they give us insight into what God thought sin was, or at least what were those things that God thought come between God and God's people. And God gave these commandments to Moses because God saw the distance, the gap forming between God and God's people. Now, when these commandments were instructions not to make idols, the warning not to take God's name in vain, there was a commandment there to keep the Sabbath holy. There were instructions there to not kill, do not commit adultery, do not steal. I hope these sound at least vaguely familiar. Now, the first 5 of these commandments focus on our relationship with God. The last 5 of these commandments focus on our relationship with each other. You have to understand that both the relationship with God and the relationship with others are important to God. Now,